Joining me now, State Committee woman from Virginia, Republican Patti Lyman. Patti, great to have you with us.
Good morning, John. Thank you for having me. You sound great today.
Oh, thank you, Patti. I tell you what, Patti, I'm fired up because I had Lynn Wood on my show yesterday. And look, Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell, these are serious attorneys. These are serious people, Patti. And both of them are telling me the evidence they have on voter fraud is overwhelming. But you can't get it out in the news. What's going on, Patti?
Well, they are superb attorneys. I practiced constitutional law myself for quite a number of years, and they're both complete rock stars. They do have the evidence. We've seen it. A lot of it's been published, and what I see being built here, and this happened starting with the day of the election, the Democrats, and I'm sorry to say, the establishment Republicans, they are building, along with the media, they are building a Potemkin village. They're all into the rituals and the titles and the staging and the this and the that to create this illusion, number one, that Joe Biden won this, and secondly, to create the illusion that there is no evidence to the contrary when it's all over the place. I'm really amused when I hear people that couldn't find their way out of a hat box mocking Sidney Powell and demanding that they show her. She has to show more evidence. She doesn't have evidence. I mean, this is a brilliant woman with integrity. And I appreciate the fact that you're highlighting that you had Lynn Wood for almost an hour yesterday. I listened to the whole thing.
Thank you.
I wish that the only people we were fighting were the Democrats and the media. But you mentioned the Three Stooges in Georgia. And I'm sorry to say, too many elected Republicans are sitting silent and saying nothing. Every single Republican U.S. senator should be coming out strongly in favor of President Trump, fighting for the truth in this election and fighting to protect our votes. Every elected Republican in Virginia should be doing that. Every member of the House should be doing that. And a lot of them are MIA. And I'm going to tell you right now, if they're MIA right now, when this president is in this fight for our votes, the voters and donors that they want next year are going to be MIA.
Patti, that is a message. Now, you have a title. You're a state committee woman from Virginia, part of the Republican RNC. Have you told them what you just told me? Do they understand that if they don't stand up and fight for this president now and fight for the truth, we're simply not going to be there for them? Did they understand that?
I think it's safe to say that everybody that I've talked to any time in our recent history knows exactly where I stand on this. None of them will be surprised. I'm not going to mention any conversations I've had with individuals, but believe me, I'm having them. Yes, I have a title with the Republican Party. I'm the RNC National Committee woman representing Virginia. There's a reason I'm doing that. I have not built my life around the Republican Party. I've built my life around the things the Republican Party stands for. And right now, for the most part, they're not standing up like they should. Rudy is, the president is, Sidney Powell is, a handful of other people, but too few others. And I think it's time for Republicans that really believe in our creed and really believe in our platform and would actually like to still have a country as of January 20th. I think it's time for us to challenge our fellow Republicans to take a stand with this president and what he's doing.
Patti, I so agree with what you're saying. I mean, let me just ask you this. If we don't fight now, when? If not us, who? I mean, what are they waiting for? It's always, these are the same Republicans that there's always some other hill to die on. I mean, I was in a roundtable yesterday. I had a state senator, Steve Gooch from Dahlonega. And he's saying, well, we don't really need a special session. They don't want to call it. We can't do it, 3/5, et cetera. But, we're going to fix all this in the upcoming General Assembly. We're going to fix all these election laws. Like, they're going to fight that battle then. It's over. Biden wins. The two Democrats win Georgia. They They've already sent out 900,000 absentee ballots. They've already mailed them out again. They're going to do the same thing, Patti.
Because nobody apparently wants to stop them. I'll tell you right now, too many people are laboring under the illusion that if Joe Biden takes office on January 20th, that after that, we're still going to have the freedom to fix the things in our country that we need to fix. We are not. Investigations will be, we will not, after January 20th, if Joe Biden is inaugurated, we will not be getting to the bottom of the voter fraud in Virginia. We won't be getting to the bottom of the voter fraud anywhere because it's all going to be shut down. And if we think that we're annoyed and restricted now by COVID restrictions, wait until that happens. We're going to be on steroids with restrictions blamed on COVID, and we're moving into a new era in this country that I don't want to think about.
John Fredericks Radio Network. We're live in Dalton, Georgia, day 2 of our 10-day, 10-city Georgia tour. With us, Patti Lyman. Patti is the state committee woman for the Republican Party in Virginia. That is a national official RNC capacity. She carries a lot of influence there, and it sounds like she's had it with this whole thing. Let's get to Virginia now. 2 times, both Rudy Giuliani, the president's chief attorney, and Sidney Powell have said that there was voter fraud in Virginia. But we lost Virginia by 450,000 votes. I'm in a difficult position because I was the state chair, so I don't want to run around and saying, well, I really won, but it was fraud. But if you take that vote on the surface, Patti, I mean, they got out almost 2.5 million people. Our target was 2 million. We thought if we got 2 million, the state would be very competitive. We got 2 million, and we got trounced. Is Virginia that blue? Can we do anything at all to turn the tide?
Virginia is not that blue. My campaign slogan all last year was the real Virginia is red, and it is. At this point, we don't have any evidence that 400,000 additional actual people voted for Joe Biden than voted for Donald Trump in Virginia. We don't have that evidence. I would like to see a full investigation into that. Otherwise, what's the point of our elections in 2021 if we can't figure out what happened in 2020? I refuse to believe that somehow our message was so inferior to Joe Biden's that many Virginians had to come out to vote for Joe Biden. I don't believe it's true at all. And it's tempting for people to say, move along, nothing to see here. We've got to move on to other pastures. But again, we're not going to have the opportunity to move along and keep functioning as free people if we just lay down now and let this kind of fraud go by. We can't do it. We have to stand up. We have to make noise. We have to take action. I think there might be a couple of House seats that we actually won, and we'll see what candidates decide to do or not do. But I want to fight this.
Patti, how do we fight it? First of all, thanks for coming on. I love your attitude. It's fantastic, and thank you for standing up for the truth. Because Patti, at the end of the day, again, if not us, who? If it's not you and I, who else is going to do it? And we have to fight. And if you don't fight now, there's what happens? I mean, it's what frustrates me in Georgia is you got all these Republicans running around saying, "Oh, well, the real stakes are January 5th." Now, the real thing, don't forget November 3rd. That's in the back of your mirror. The real thing is electing these 2 senators on January 5th. Otherwise, it's Armageddon for the Republicans. I understand that. It is critical. But what they don't understand is I'm talking to rural Trump voters, Patti. They're not coming out again if they see the 3 statewide elected Republican officials are not fighting for them and they feel that their vote was a waste and the election was stolen. Can you understand that, Patti?
I understand that perfectly. Richard Nixon said it decades ago. You can't win an election with only your base, but you can't win one without your base either.
Mm-hmm.
And it's too. I think we make a mistake just assuming that our base is going to be there. But people, the grassroots, are feeling disrespected now. They're not so much over the Democrats. We know who and what they are, but over leaders in their own party, in their own local party or their state or whatever, that seem to be fine with what just happened. It's like the emperor's new clothes. Everyone's pretending, oh, look at that beautiful outfit. Well, the regular people know the emperor has no clothes. And what we're seeing is that significant fraud took place. And as an American, that cuts right through me. And I have to say to you that your efforts in Georgia have been tremendous. I started listening to Steve Bannon right after the election, have heard your reports. Your efforts, your fight down there has been absolutely tremendous. I hope everyone supports it. And I will fight for my president, because fighting for the president means fighting for the country. I will fight for this president up to when and if he ever concedes. I will not concede 1 nanosecond before he does.
Well, Patti, I appreciate that. You're getting a lot of love, by the way. Just let me read you a couple of texts here. Elizabeth in Williamsburg says, thank you, Patti. There's a huge amount of us out here that agree with you 100%. Help us save our republic. Juanita Ballinger says Virginia Republicans need to fight for democracy with next year's elections and engage the independent and walk-away voters. Go, Patti. So that's only a handful. But, Patti, you and I sometimes, I feel it's like you and I v. world. And why are so many Republicans so anxious to just run the Fox News, run the CNN and say, well, you know, Joe Biden's the president? I mean, I heard Asa Hutchinson from Arkansas, solid conservative. Well, you know, Trump lost and Biden's the president. We need to work with him and we need to really stop this. And it's you know, it's not healthy. And we got COVID and there's a lot of things we need to do. And, you know, it's just, I mean, you had him and others. Why do they just want to throw in the towel? Why?
Because they're too comfortable where they are. They don't see their lives being destroyed by if Biden is inaugurated on January 20th. They're going to be fine. It's just like the lobbyist crowd and the rest of them. It's been too long since too many people in leadership have had to live like regular people. This ain't my first rodeo. I was peripherally involved in the 2000 recount in Florida. I did all kinds of media explaining to people exactly what was going on in the Florida Supreme Court and the U.S. Supreme Court. I went to both Supreme Court arguments, okay? It took 37 days, and we made 2 round trips to the U.S. Supreme Court. But all of a sudden now, it's an international incident because we're 3 or 4 weeks in. People were screaming one weekend that the Republic was at stake if we didn't move ahead and start the transition. It's ridiculous. It was the middle of December before we knew who the president was going to be in 2000. We can wait, and we can do this right.
Let's just get to the truth. Patti, the truth will set you free. And I've said this over and over. If you can prove to me that these votes are legitimate and there was no shenanigans going on with these Dominion machines, voting machines, and there certainly seems to be, and I'm talking to people that are very knowledgeable who are telling me they have overwhelming evidence. They got affidavits that these machines were manipulated. If you can prove to me that the signatures match on these bajillion mail-in ballots across these states, fine. But not only they can't do that, they don't even want to do it. I mean, even in Virginia, there's allegations of fraud. I want to get to the bottom of it because if you let them get away with it, and maybe it's not going to overturn 450,000, but if you let them get away with it, Patti, they're going to keep doing it. And so then you're never going to win. And what happens
exactly
if you're Kirk Cox right now? You ought to be on a soapbox demanding this get looked into and vetted 100%. If you're Kirk Cox or Amanda Chase or anybody else running for governor, Pete Snyder or whatever, because this election was 450,000. 2021 can be 20,000 or 50,000. And if they keep cheating, what are you going to do? Scream then? That's my point. Don't you agree with that?
I agree with that 100%, and I've said this from the beginning. the best audition for a Republican to get votes and money in 2021, 22, 23, and 24, the best audition for them is the way that they fight for our country and our president and voter integrity right now. If they can't fight now, I don't want to hear me next year how they're going to fight for me. If we have something like this happen, but people don't want to stand up and stand behind this president and his efforts to stop the disenfranchisement that took place. Every illegal vote that was put in and counted in this election disenfranchised a real person.
Patti Lyman, you are so right. Patti?
I think it'd be quite a spectacle. And you know what, John? You and I aren't always on the same side of every fight. But let me tell you, you're a patriot and you're standing behind my president, and that means we're on the same side.
Thank you, Patti.